Hi everyone and happy Wednesday. Welcome to the next video in this series from the Johanna Basford weekly planner. I am just grabbing a white pen because my moon needs a bit of more white in it. There we go. I think a bit of that might have chipped off. It looks a bit flaky. It's quite thick. There we go. That'll do. I'm just fiddling. Right. Polychromos pencils. We are going to start with our tent. Now I have had an idea about what to do for this one. Let's come in closer. We're going to start with the terracotta colour. I want this to be a sort of orangey colour tent. Now inside I want this terracotta, but it's a little bit tricky because we've got these fairy lights inside which are going to be throwing a bit of light around. What I think I'm going to do, I'm just going to start colouring, is make this the darker bit. So I'm going to put it here and then slowly fade it out towards the centre like this, and then use another colour for the rest of it. Now, let's make some space to put it down. So inside, I think, oops, what colour is this? I think the cadmium orange might work. We used it for our candle flame, didn't we? If it's a bit too bright, I can always dull it down a bit with some more terracotta. But I think because we've got those lights, it might just be the right colour. But it just depends on how the rest of the tent looks really, and how I decide to colour the rest. So there is that bit. So it's sort of brighter in the centre area compared to the edges. I'm just putting it in quite thickly. Like that. Now on the outside I think it will be a little bit lighter. So I am going to go over most of it with this dark chrome yellow. And then I will go back to some of my darker colours. This zigzag pattern at the bottom, I'm going to do that a different colour. So I'm just going to go over all of it with this. Now this dark chrome yellow is quite an orangey colour. But we can go over it where we want to with a darker colour. So don't press down too hard. Don't put down multiple layers yet. This is just an initial light layer just to get us started with some colour. And you can see that it definitely looks like we're looking deep inside because that's darker. We want to keep that. Now if it doesn't continue to look like that, we can always use some even darker colours to get that working, so it's okay. Now these lights would be producing some light against the tent that they're leaning on, so we need to consider that as well. So that's our initial colouring, and then we're going to grab the cadmium orange again to put in our darker areas. So let's have a look. We've got this piece going across. Underneath here I feel there would be a shadow, so that's my first thing. Also under here, now where this curtain is got like a fold in it, I feel like there'd be shadow down there. The same here and here, yeah, like that. Now here where these lights are, what I'm going to do is sort of scumble that colour so that we've got a darker bit around it, so the lights look like they're lighting up that bit that they're leaning on. Hopefully that comes through in the colouring. Now I feel this top bit would be lighter at the top than the bottom if we're thinking that it might be lit up by the moonlight, so I'm going to put a bit more down here and then just sort of fade it up like that. Okay, and the same on this side. Oh, sorry, that's not very useful for you, is it? There we go. Like that. Now, these zigzags, I'm thinking I might do the bottom ones in this colour. I'm just blocking them in really, like that. Now, I don't know why I always think tents are orange. I don't know if I've even ever seen an orange tent, but yeah. I'm going to go darker on the other one. I'm going to grab the orange glaze, and I might use this slightly darker tone in a few areas. Probably on the rug. I feel like this is a rug. And I feel like I want it to match. So I am going to do the middle area in this colour. I feel like it's patterned. There we go. Then I'm going to grab a darker orange to do the next layer of rug. This is the dark cadmium orange. Just need to sharpen it. That layer around the very outside, I'm going to use yet another colour for. I think that tent pole is doing a really good job of just staying still. How do they do that? How is it not rocking back and forth or falling over? It doesn't seem to be particularly realistic. I'm going to make this a little bit darker, but I've never been camping. I know absolutely nothing about tents, so maybe that's realistic. I want this line here to be drawn back in. And down here, I don't know if I even did one down there. Okay, now we've got the very outside bit of the rug. I'm going to actually do that in this colour. This is the burnt sienna. This is brown. So just as a sort of edge, really, to sort of define it all. I might, redo those shadows with this. I'm using a particularly steady hand, which is not helping matters. Okay, now our flagpole. We want a browny colour. I just use the burnt umber. That's what that is. It keeps turning round and not letting me see what it is. Burnt umber. Now I'm going to do a lightish layer. Try and make it darker on each side to make it look more rounded. Tricky, especially at the top. Okay, now our actual flag I thought might do in a reddish colour. Oops, nearly dropped that then. This is the light cadmium red, and it is slightly orangey red, so I thought it might work well. Do a light layer first. Then I'm going to sharpen it because it's quite blunt and I didn't notice. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put a bit of a shadow line here and here, and this bit here at the back would be darker. I'm just going to go over it to make it stand out a little bit more. There we go. So there is our tent, almost done. I'm just going to, the curtains to me look a little bit too light. So So I'm just using the cadmium orange, and I'm just going to add just a little touch more. So I think that would be darker there. Just going to bring it down a bit. Sit with this one like that, so bring it a little bit in, the colour a little bit towards the edge, so that one towards the centre, and then on these tie backs maybe a little bit more on each edge, give them a bit of shape. There we go, that's better. Okay, now we have our rocks to do. I think we're almost all in shot, there we are. So we could use more of a reddy brown, or we could use more of a dark brown. I think I'm going to start with a reddy brown base. So I'm going to use actually the burnt ochre, sorry, get the name right, burnt ochre, and do a colour over all of it. Now, I'm not going to press too hard. I just want this as a base colour, and then we'll decide. Now these things, what are they? Well, you could colour them as a sort of fungus, mushrooms, lichen, sorry. I don't know if there's a right way to say it. Anyway, or uneven bits of rock is what I'm going to go for. So you'll see as I go through how I'm going to address those. But we're just going to get this simple layer down, and then we can work with all our little markings and bits and bobs to get it all looking a little bit more three-dimensional and a little bit more colourful. Now I am using a vertical movement which is giving me a stripy look. That isn't my intention, and I hope that I'll be able to eliminate that a little bit as we add more layers of colour. I can hear my husband's computer going diddling, diddling. It when he does something wrong, it makes that noise. I wouldn't bear it. You know when you get a pop-up in Windows, it makes a noise. It's that noise. I just turn on my noise off because that would drive me absolutely batty. I don't know how he can cope with it, to be honest. But anyway. It doesn't annoy me hearing it because it's not me that it's telling that I've made a mistake, if you know what I mean. But if every time I did something wrong it went, that would just be like, ah. Ah, well. Anyway, what's the day today? Wednesday? Weeks seem to go so fast. I think today's the day my son's assignments are all due in. No, one of them was due in today, one of them was due in yesterday. Hopefully he would have had them done soon. He's working on one right now. He's got 2 left to hand in, one on 19th, and on the 20th. This one is his own work. The other one is a group project, so I think this one is easier. Now, I want to put some shadow in between the different layers of rock, and I want to actually, I'm just going to sharpen that burnt ochre and do a little bit more burnt ochre work before I go to a darker colour. So here's my burnt ochre still, and I'm going to do all these little rocks. So what I want to do is to make them look like they're individual and slightly rounded, so I'm going to try and put a bit more colour on the edges. And a bit lighter in the middle. I'm making them look like they're sort of rocky outcrops, but they could still be anything you want them to be, even if you colour them the same way as me, but you can choose how you want to do it. Sometimes I think Johanna just draws a little pattern on why she thinks it'll be too plain, which is fair enough, but sometimes it just confuses me. But there we go. But I do like this picture. think I've only done it once before. Every picture in a planner I've done before, and the reason for that is that I've always finished a Johanna Basford book, all of Johanna's books, when I come to colour the planner, all the ones that had been out by the time the planner comes out. Don't know if I'm making sense. So the 2026 planner I think comes out on US Amazon on the 5th of June, and I've got it on pre-order. As soon as I get it, I will do a flip through video, and I think that one will probably have pictures from all her books, including, well, Magical Worlds. The new planner tends to have pictures from the new book, so that'll be interesting. I'm hoping we won't have so many such small detail pictures as we seem to have had for the last few years, but I'm wondering if they're just running out of pictures, you know, because although Johanna's got a lot of books, it's a lot to keep on top of, isn't it, picture wise. Now I'm going to do the shadow next. This is burnt sienna, because she only has one book out a year. There's a limit to how much picture wise there is to pick from, especially if you want each year's planner to be slightly unique and not to have any repeated pictures in. I think so far I've noticed there's one repeated picture in this year's planner that was in last year's, which was a bit of a oversight, I think. I'm also going to go around the edge of these. What's going on with that? I think there's a shadow there. On the window. Yes, so normally they haven't been in a planner before, and I think because Johanna does quite detailed pictures quite a lot of the time, finding one to fit in the planner can be quite tricky, but I also feel that they could be cropped slightly so that you just get a bit of a page, and that might make it a little bit easier for us. But still, it's a challenge, isn't it? This one is shrunk down quite well, I think. It's not the small details that don't occur too often, so that is helpful. Now we're going to go around these, do that bit of window nearly there, and then that bit, and then we're done with that bit. I don't know, I think I'm going to do a bit along the top around this all grassy outcrop. There we go. I don't know, I'm suddenly feeling tired and sleepy. I think it's because I've got the blind shut, it's dark in here. So it's probably just my eyes getting tired. Certainly not lacking in sleep, that's for sure. I had a strange dream last night. I dreamt that my friend was coming, and I was trying to get the house all tidy, and I was telling everyone, it was weird, I was telling everyone to clear away all the vapes because I didn't want her to see them. None of us vape. I don't know why I was thinking that. Anyway, very weird. And but they weren't vapes, they were packets of crisps. Yes, I know. Now I'm going to go back to my burnt ochre, and I want to do a bit more work on those sections now. This section, I'm going to make it darker on this side, and then just sort of fade it across like this. and then the same with this section, you see where it's overlapping, it makes sense to sort of continue that shadow a bit to there. I don't want to go as dark as the rocky bit, which I haven't outlined on this one. I think perhaps I should. We'll do a dark bit around there as well, like that. Hang on. So just put a pencil in my mouth and you can't hear me. Burnt sienna. I'm just going to outline this bit. Yes, that was quite funny, putting a pencil in my mouth. Okay, back to our burnt ochre. And yeah, just fading across. These stepping stones, I'm not sure whether they're sort of supposed to be the same as the rock or just slightly different colour. Have a little think about that. I'll come back and think about those in a minute. Just bring our colours across. Hopefully it will add to the sort of 3D look. It doesn't need to look massively 3D, but I just think it makes it look a little bit more interesting if these, you know, if we sort of separate off the little sections just as they're drawn. And it doesn't take too long really, but you can just leave them plain. You don't have to do this little bit. Say, I don't think it takes too long. Now let's have a look. This one looks a bit, these two look a bit plain. I'm feeling like I want to put another colour on top just to finish it off. I want something to intensify and brighten without changing the colour too much. I think I'm going to grab the cream. I'll see if that works, because I don't want it to be really yellowy. So we'll see. The cream does obviously have a yellow tone, but it's not in the same way as a yellow glaze or a cadmium yellow or chrome yellow would. Like that. Let me have a look. Stand back. Yeah, it's better. It just warms it up without making it look overly light. We are nighttime after all. But it fills in those little gaps that I've accidentally left, which I think it works quite well. So I'm trying to do more on this lighter side, just a little bit on the opposite side. So I had a lovely message from my cousin who lives in San Francisco saying that she's planning on coming to England in August and she'd like to see us, see all the family, which would be absolutely lovely. We did a similar thing last year before, I can't quite remember, when she came over, and it was really lovely. She's got all these plans and it's really interesting to hear them and what she's up to, catch up with her news and all that sort of thing, you know, really fun. And she wants to be with, she's meeting her son and her grandchildren and his wife while she's here, and they're going to come and visit as well. They live in Korea, South Korea, and they'll be coming over as well because I'm just trying to decide. I'm going to do something else. I want to do a bit of shadowing, shading and stuff. He's coming over to do something, I can't remember what. This is dark sepia, so I'm not going to come in, I'm going to come in a bit, closer. Now I want to do a bit of shadow with my sepia. I want to do a little bit in the tent here, just to make it look a little bit darker on this edge. So anyway, I think he's going to be in Oxford, staying at the university. He did his I feel like I need some here on these trees. Remember we did it on these, but we didn't do it on these, so that's what I'm going to do, is to just put a bit of shadow between the trees. Yeah, he did his doctorate at Oxford, so he tends to stay there. Now what I'm doing is a little bit behind this tufty grass so that you can see it underneath these leaves and things like that. Just bits here and there. So it would be lovely to see them anyway. So that's going to be August time. And yeah, it'll be nice. I can't believe my son would have been working for a couple of months by then. Goodness me. They grow up. Don't think they're going to grow up, and suddenly they do. Now I'm just looking and pondering. I think I want a little bit just along the front of the tent. Johanna would say to ground it. I don't think I need any on the brickwork, on the block, you know. I think I'm okay with that. I'm just looking over it. I think I am. I think I'm going to end it there. I was thinking it's a bit short, this video, but I don't want to fiddle and faddle and spoil it. I think I am done. So there it is, our completed planner page. If you wanted to do something around the edge, to be honest, I think it pops off the page. I wouldn't really do anything. You could do a few wisps of grey cloud, as if with some pastel, as if it's floating through the sky, but really, no, I'm just happy with it as it is. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Hope that you have a really super day, and happy colouring.